Now turn up.
What up, it is Marcus with Dynasty Fun. We have a Deandre Swift signed jersey. It is literally for free. All you have to do is to be a subscriber for a chance to win. So hit that subscribe button. And we're going to be doing 31 through 50. Now, usually we go by 10-person segments, 10-player segments. We did 1 through 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 30. We're going to just do 31 through 50, get off the top 50, and then we can get into Dynasty Cornerstone rankings. We can get into more Dynasty rookie talk, because that's what most people are looking for right now, is that Dynasty rookie talk and some of the analytics and video analysis of some of these players. And if you want more, 51 through whatever, that is going to be Patreon. And so we already have some Patreon supporters. That will just be posted on there whenever I have that completed. It starts getting dicey down there when we start getting into hundreds and stuff, trying to debate and we have it in tiers as well. So 31 is going to be T. Higgins, 23 years old, the sidekick, the Robin to Jamar Chase's Batman. And so the only problem, again, with T. Higgins is that he is with Jamar Chase, and he's going to be stuck with him for at least until his rookie contract is over. But he's on a team that is high-powered offense, and he's got Joe Burrow. At this point, T. Higgins, if he didn't have Jamar Chase, you could argue that he would be potentially in that kind of top 10 realm because of how great he looked his rookie year and some of the spurts he's had his last 12 months as well. So, I mean, you look at T. Higgins, he is kind of into this spot, right into that high-end wide receiver too. I mean, he had a really good year last year even. It was ups and downs. He had that blow-up game. What was that, week 14, I believe. So, this is where we get into 32. This is, it's hard to rank a QB in standard leagues. It really is, because Superflexes is 101, and then you just go, okay, well, the next quarterback's 102, and the next quarterback's 103, and probably the next one's 104, and then it goes like 106, 108, 110, like pretty much every other for the next round and a half. But Pat Mahomes, QB1, and so at this point, I feel like Patrick Mahomes, unless he just gets tired of running away from defenders, which it seems like his offensive line always fails him. And he seems like but he also kind of does that for himself as well, because he does like to extend the play, and he believes that his legs can give him that added value time. And he feels like he can make any throw on the field. He's still my QB1. I think between him and Josh Allen, it's gotten a lot closer. You're going to hear Josh Allen's name not too long. And then you have Herbert, who I think you're going to have Justin Herbert's name that's going to be starting to pop up through that as well, just because Herbert's a couple years younger, talking about almost 3 years younger. So those thoughts are going to start creeping. It used to be Pat Mahomes and then the rest of the field. Now it's Pat Mahomes, and we have some players that are starting to creep into that kind of area. And so if you said, hey, I want Josh Allen, I want an extra year of Josh Allen over Pat Mahomes, I'm not going to basically argue with you. I do think Pat Mahomes is still the QB1, and I still see these guys as being 10-year players, which is nuts. And that's why Superflex, they have to be 101, 102, 103 in that order. Devonte Smith, wide receiver 15. He's the hardest one to gauge because Philadelphia's offense was a complete pile of poop. Once again, you have Jalen Hurts, who is he's a running back that is playing quarterback and doesn't really throw the ball very well. And you have him basically not destroying, limiting the ceilings of Goddard and Davonte Smith. I'm not even going to talk about Jalen Reagor. I'm not going to talk about him. But Davonte Smith, wide receiver 15, I mean, 22 years old. At this point, he's one of those, he's a wide receiver that even if it takes him 2-3 years to be that wide receiver 1, I still think he has that ability easily. And he is now slightly behind Jalen Waddle. I think he's the best receiver. It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue against Jamar Chase. But going in, Devonte Smith was my 1A. Jamar Chase was my 1B. They got drafted. They flip-flopped. It was Jamar Chase 1A. It was Devonte Smith 1B. And then Jalen Waddle was in that kind of tier. But I was like, he's probably third. So Devonte Smith, still, I love his talent. I just think that he needs a quarterback. And so if Jalen Hurts goes away, is it going to be Gardner Minshew then? Or who is it going to be? It could be just this. It could be the next Daniel Jones, the next Mitch Trubisky. It could be just a bad situation. I'm saying the next of those players, not those players specifically. So that's where I have them. Number 34, Mark Andrews. And I even heard, I'm not going to take a shot at fantasy footballers because I love them, but they were even talking about Mark Andrews being close to the tight end 1 in Dynasty. And I was just like, what? What? No, Kyle Pitts is the tight end number 1, and it's not even close. And they were talking about, Mark Andrews plus something for, and then they were like, Mark Andrews plus, if you can get Mark Andrews, you can trade him for Kyle Pitts plus something. I'm like, there's no way you're getting Kyle Pitts plus something. Kyle Pitts is the number 1 dynasty tight end by far. Maybe it was Travis Kelce plus something. Whatever it was like, they were talking in the site of where Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts were close together, which I don't believe so. I love fantasy footballers. I feel like they are the best redraft content. Dynasty, they need to work on that. I really do. And so it's not necessarily a shot. I just think that fantasy footballers wise, their redraft stuff is amazing. And I think they really are accurate considering the other avenues and sources, but their dynasty content is rough right now. And so, hey, if you need me to help you with that dynasty content, just let me know, fantasy footballers. Jeez. Me or somebody else that it feels like they are trying to get into that dynasty realm, but they are not. I feel like they don't understand fully of how the values and stuff works. And it takes time. It does. It takes time. It takes years of working through the dynasty realm to figure out and to not make mistakes on what values are. Because Mark Andrews, number 34, tight end number 3 here. He's 26. He's in his prime. There is concern that Lamar Jackson does kind of hold Mark Andrews back. As you saw, Lamar gets hurt, Mark Andrews blows up. He does still have Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman, and they didn't have a running game because J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards were hurt. Mark Andrews, right here, 34. That's where I have him. I think it's a really good spot for him, and we'll talk about some more tight ends here real soon. Actually, now that it's already been 6 minutes, I'm going to break this up into 2. I'm going to break this up into 2. I don't want you guys to do 6 minutes of just listening. We already had 6 minutes, and we've only gone through 4 players. Number 35. This is a tough decision because it's DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver 16. He's getting closer to 30 already, which is a huge red flag. But when he's healthy, he's a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. And he's a wide receiver. He's a top 10 wide receiver performance-wise every single year that he has played. And he gets close into even that top 5. And it doesn't matter who his quarterback is. Kyler Murray helps. So DeAndre Hopkins, he's in that area, and it feels weird to have him this low, but it also feels weird to have him this high, being that he has 29, and does he have 2 years left in him? He's been injury prone. He's had injuries the last couple of years. It's like, what do we do? He's also, I said even 2 years ago, he was the most talented wide receiver at that time in the NFL, and that was over Davonte Adams and stuff like that. And so DeAndre Hopkins is supremely talented. But does he go the Julio Jones route in 2 years? And so how much value do you have in DeAndre Hopkins for 2 years versus my next guy who's still only 24, which is DJ Moore? And DJ Moore, again, you might not get the 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns, which he seems to only get 4 touchdowns, DJ Moore, but you're going to have a guy that has 1,200 yards every single year and just doesn't have a quarterback. So DJ Moore, wide receiver 17, he's 24 years old. Still, an excellent wide receiver. Talent-wise, just so frustrating that he is put on a team that does not have a quarterback. That is all as simple as that. And so we're gonna kind of go through these a little bit faster. But number 37 is Josh Allen. If you told me, Josh Allen was somebody actually that I loved in redraft leagues like 3 years ago. Was that his rookie year? 4 years ago? I just loved him because he was a low-end QB1 that I could get basically at the end of drafts because he was a running quarterback. And I saw him do that hurdle over Anthony Barr, and we all saw it, and we all saw, whoa, this guy has some athleticism. And he has done nothing but improve every single year, and especially with his throwing ability. He was bad. Let's just put it honestly. He was not Jalen Hurts bad, but he was close. And he has turned into that to being one of the best throwers in the entire NFL, which is that Brian Daboll's job? Can you credit for that? It could just be Josh Allen has it worked that hard and impressively in the gym every single day, and that is why he's improved so much. QB2, and honestly, you could argue QB1 if you want that extra year, but I think he will be amazing for years to come. Number 38 and number 39, we're just going to kind of lump them together because they're young running backs that had good spurts of the last 2 years, but have had also injuries and super disappointing parts of the last 2 years. It's Antonio Gibson, it's David Montgomery, RB16, RB17. when you start getting into this end of wide running back, the middle of running back twos here, you have injury prone, you have lots of hype, lots of ceiling. Like, these players have shown top 5, even top 3 running back ability for a stretch. I mean, David Montgomery, the end of 2020? Yeah, end of 2020 was amazing. Antonio Gibson, the end of that year was amazing. This year, really up and down, has shown spurts of being incredible. They both have, when they're both healthy, they both have the starting jobs locked down. They both play for teams that are going to kind of limit their touchdown upside at times. RB16, RB17, this is kind of the area that I like them. I mean, when we start getting lower, we start getting even some more risk. But these players, I believe, have another 3 years. And 3 years of a running back is a long time. And so I want Antonio Gibson and David Montgomery over some of these other wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends. Of course, this is not tight end premium. This is just standard. All right. Number 40. Yeah, we got to get to number 40. Justin Herbert, QB3, 23 years old. And again, now looking at this, I kind of want to move him over those 2 running backs, but we're just going to keep him below the 2 running backs at this point, just because in one QB, I devalue quarterbacks. Because I know that there's plenty of quarterbacks out there, especially even for a 12-team league. There's 15 quarterbacks I like. Is Kirk Cousins amazing? No, he's not amazing. But can I get him and have 75%, 80% of the value of Herbert? Yeah, and sometimes I'll even win those weeks. I'll even have Kirk Cousins outscore Herbert versus having a position where I lack, like, running back or tight end. Like, those positions are so much more valuable, in my opinion, when it comes to one QB leagues. And so Justin Herbert, he's amazing. He's 23 years old. He's just my QB3. He is number 103 in Superflex. And so we're going to do, in the next couple weeks, we have We have mock draft. We'll have to do some startup stuff as well when it comes in here. That stuff may happen after the draft here in a couple of months, just because I don't want to overload you guys full of just, mock draft. And it's like, well, people aren't even going to be doing drafts, most of them, until after the NFL draft. At least that's when you should wait. So, again, this is Marcus Dynasty Fun. Deandre Smith, San Jersey. Peace out. Take care.